Hello, my name is Roger Watson, and I have the privilege of giving my stepping story. My talk usually lasts 40 to 60 minutes. So, however, I've been limited to 3 or 4 minutes on this occasion, so please listen fast. Let's go April 3rd, 1978 to April 3rd, 2020, 42 years. Had the privilege of working with other men in Alcoholics Anonymous, encouraging them that they could sober up and live a productive life through Alcoholics Anonymous. A couple of years ago, I mentioned to Brother David that I thought my story was getting stale because I hardly associated with anybody anymore that ever saw me drunk. So they found it hard to believe my story that I was a recovering alcoholic. Let's jump on forward a little bit. 18 months ago, Dr. Sudeth and Reverend David invited me to go into a workshop called Reveal, where we would learn how Christ reveals himself to us and work on the ability to share our Christian story better and listen to others. And it was a very interesting workshop. Then let's jump ahead to March and April of 2020. Then is that old God said, Raj, you're interested in stepping up your story some? Okay, let's start off with some new language words. How about wear a mask, social distancing, CDC guidelines, quarantine, virtual learning, virtual distancing, and on and on and on. Let's jump to May the 15th. My wife, Gail, had not been feeling well for a whole week. And our daughter, Mandy, was out of work. She was working at home, safe at home, another term there that we learned. And she took Gail to the doctor on that Friday so I wouldn't have to take off work. We were figuring that Gail would get a prescription or for whatever was ailing her, and that'd be it. They were late getting back that afternoon, so I stopped by Kroger's to get a little snack, and I'll always remember the spot I was standing at Kroger's when Mandy called me. She said, Dad said the doctor wants to talk to you, and she kind of lowered her voice, said he wants to tell you that Mom's got cancer. Well, you can imagine that I can remember that spot that I was standing. So he got on the phone and he said, yep, sure enough, she does have rapid advance in leukemia. Said I can do some chemo treatments and buy her a little more time, or she can go straight to hospice. Okay. So then she decided to go to the chemo treatments, June, July, August, September, October. And finally, she decided there's no quality of life here. And she asked the doctors, we just discontinue the chemo and go from there. Well, let's jump up to November the 13th of this past year. On a Friday, I had been exposed to someone who had been exposed to the coronavirus. And so I went and got tested, and I tested positive, and the symptoms came on for 2 weeks. The worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. So I advise you don't get the COVID if you can possibly avoid it. I physically lived on water, orange juice, and Gatorade for 2 weeks. And I was really afraid, and I was convinced that I was dying because of my age. I had COPD, I was beginning to have the fever and the chills, and I thought, and the nurse at the hospital, I would talk to her occasionally. I was not in the hospital, but she was encouraging, said unless I had the respiratory part, to stay at home. So, as I said, I was convinced that I was dying, and I decided, well, I'll just talk to Jesus at night. I got nothing better to do here, and I give thanks. I said, God, Jesus, I give thanks that you're allowing me to suffer in this small way, because it certainly doesn't compare with the suffering that you did for me and to provide for my salvation. And so 2 weeks passed on by and I didn't die, and then was able to go back to work. Well, this is February the 14th. Obviously, I didn't die. My wife, Gail, is still in remission from her leukemia, and we're learning to give thanks for one day at a time, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, whatever God supplies for us. I hope this is not trite for me to say this, But it is February the 14th, Valentine's Day, and it's as though God were saying to me, Roger, I love you, and I'm going to protect you, and I have you and your family safely in the palm of my hand. Thank you very much.